Another conversation I want to talk about is who is the Tiny Temper of this generation. It was an interesting conversation where a lady and a couple of mandem was talking about like who is doing a business at the moment, in terms of who's like the hardest right now in the UK and has that kind of like level of success that Tiny Temper had. So let's listen to what they have to say. Tiny Temper was actually
A superstar.
he was mega star like.
No, he wasn't mega. But what I'm saying is, Tiny Tempah has a good. Like, no one can deny that Tiny Tempah knew what would blow. Like, he knew
What's popping,
what
yeah.
popping.
Bane is not Tiny Temper.
Who is Tiny Tempah of this generation?
There's none.
Apart from maybe
Yeah,
Stormzy.
first
I don't
thing.
think. Yes, I would say Stones.
Try to be honest, he's like, hey, he's gonna kill me. Okay, not exactly, but similar. Hey, you guys gonna cook me, Tion?
Which Tion?
Tiny
What
Temper.
about- No,
Tion.
which-
Yeah,
which
wait.
Tion?
Okay, think about it.
Okay,
Okay, not
He can't make that. I think I see what he's trying to do there, but I don't agree.
Nah, I hear it. In what
like,
sense?
in the
In what
sense of single wise, you can't chat to Tion because he's doing numbers, all of that stuff. Festivals, Tion was doing like mad stuff. Literally,
Yeah. It's music. It's literally.
yeah,
professional.
literally the number one with drill, all that stuff. They get it like.
Album-wise, you're not trying to hear him. You're not trying
Nobody think this year.
Tiny Tempah, though, album-wise, were you trying to hear him?
No.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. You're not trying to hear it. No, it's not because Tiny Temper was at. No, it's not.
It's an interesting one. So obviously they compared Tion Wayne to Tiny Temper. Obviously discussing it. I don't even know how Young Bane was in that part. Young Bane's been irrelevant for so long that I don't even remember his last hit. Because that birthday shit with Steph London didn't even touch the surface of the streets. No one cared. But no one cared. I don't know what's going on at this. Is it Disturbing London? The thing, that Tiny Temper's thing. Ironically, is on the Tiny Temper. Tiny, you've ended his career in like 10 seconds. I can't even lie. But Tion Wayne. They're trying to say he's the new Tiny Temper of this generation. Um, in terms of the type of music, is very different. Tiny Temper was down the very commercial route of music. Would never compare the two. Tiny Temper, was doing much more like pop rap anthems, in my opinion, with raps in there. But like, he will collaborate with a lot of like the super poppy niggas, and rap over some of their beat. Oh, no. You know what I'm saying? And he'll be like, yeah, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like he's all got like, yeah. Nigga, that ain't hip hop, dog. Like, come on, man. That's not hip hop, dog. That's not hip hop. I'm sorry. So no. Was any of us really checking for that Tiny Temper album? No, but the white chicks was. That's what I'm saying. The white people was checking for that Tiny Temper album, dog. Like he had that. His the fan bases aren't the same. He came from the streets, but he wasn't making street music when he was popping. You know what I'm saying? Like why after YFE Riddles, which is probably like the last time I remember him doing anything really for the streets, and it wasn't even for the streets, it was just for the chicks. Maybe like them hood chicks. When he blew up after that, like, the nigga was just making kind of pop tunes, really. I wouldn't compare it to Tion Wayne because Tiny Temper was making hits that was hitting a different type of level of sales and ceilings to a Tion Wayne, in my opinion. But listen, Tion Wayne has good singles. Debatable how many of them are him on his own, but you can say the same for Tiny Temper. I wouldn't say Tiny Temper and Tion Wayne are by any means at the same level when they were in the prime. Tion Wayne's like in his prime now. Tiny Temper used to be back in that 2011, 2012, whatever, 2013 era. I wouldn't say I still think that Tiny's Temper's ceiling was a lot higher in his prime than Tion Wayne's is now. Tion Wayne is a UK superstar. Tiny Temper for me had a bit more of a reach outside of the UK than a Tion Wayne, in my personal opinion. However, Tion Wayne has more respect, in my opinion, within the culture of hip hop, rap, the niggas, than a Tiny Temper, because Tiny Temper just kind of feels like he got his fame, ran off,
went to the white man and said, "Bye bye, niggas. Like, I'll just come back for my, my flowers when I'm done." Um, and Tion Wayne is kind of riding that drill. Actually, he said, he's going #1 with drill music, and he said it's really holding it down for the culture. Obviously, different times as well. We've got to take in the time different. The UK back in them days, if you were doing hip hop, you weren't really blowing up like that. It's too fast. But you really are now. Listen, Tion Wayne is not Tiny Temper of now, and he's not making commercial-ish music. He's making more cultural hip hop music that's now just being more accepted, especially with the rise of social media. You can't really deny a hit anymore. Streaming services, you don't have to pay for music anymore, so you can't deny hits now. You are more easily. There's more easier ways of going on the charts than pure sales. Whereas more Tiny Temper's time, it was more like you have to buy the CDs and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you had to almost cater to white people a bit more then, because us niggas just didn't have the money. You know what I'm saying? You don't really want to be. You don't really want to market all your shit to the streets when the streets don't have the peace. So I can also understand why Tiny Temper went the way he went. Tid the Strider went the way he did. Chip went to the States, signed with a label over there, ended up with Hustle Gang as well for a bit with T.I. You understand when people was making all these moves because you can't market to man that just ain't got the money to pay for you, bro. That's what it is. But I want to know what you look. If I was to pick like a Tiny Temper of our generation, to be honest, I don't know. No one really acts like Tiny Temper. There's not really like a standout artist in my opinion. The closest I would say is probably Stormzy. Um, Stormzy can go down this gospel, really commercially route, and then always remind us that he can spit bars. So if there's anyone that's close to Tiny Temper, it's Stormzy. Stormzy now, he can say goodbye to us, but he will always come back with a tune or two to remind us that, listen, man, like when he shut down Wiley and that, like, Stormzy, to me, it's a modern day Tiny Temper. Just a much better rapper and artist. Because Tiny Temper, I don't know what people thought about Tiny Temper. He's not good. I'm sorry. I mean, bro. Does anyone remember bars from Tiny Temper? Like, do we? No, I've never heard anyone go, ah! Hey, them bars were crazy, though. Hey, did you hear Tiny Temper on this joint? Crazy. Never heard anyone say that about Tiny Temper. Like, never. Like, never. I think even Tine Strider, as much as I sometimes make jokes, Tine Strider, like, but even on that Game Over, like, people were like spraying the bars. Like, remember that Game Over remix shit when you had like Tine Strider, Chip, and Gigs was on there. That was a Devlin. Well, it had a bad niggas on it. Professor Green. About fam, I've never heard anyone come to me and tell me, "Yo, you hear these Tiny Temper bars?" To even say Stormzy is a modern day Tiny Temper is kind of disrespectful at this point. Tion Wayne is kind of disrespectful at this point. Nigga, like, we were singing along to the hooks. We did not care about Tiny Tempers. But now, Pass Out, it's a good tune. Yeah. Earthquake, I've been here. Stay up. Maybe that's the earthquake song. Yeah, no, yeah, that's the difference. That's the earthquake. Pass out. Pass out. Yeah, pass out. He had a couple of bars, I think. Nah, nigga, listen. Tiny Temper, if we're talking hip hop and rap, it's not in the conversation for even top 20. Bro, then I do a list. I forgot Tiny Temper existed in that list. I can't even lie. Tiny Temper does not get on anybody's top 10 rap list. Top 20? No. Fam, I'll say it right here. I know too many niggas is way better than Tiny Temper at spitting bars. Blood. Tiny fucking Temper, I can't even believe I was just talking about that.